All right, good afternoon. Here we go. I'll let you guys start off with any questions.
Shane, Caleb expressed confidence yesterday that the running game would get going really soon once you guys sort of identify the runs that fit you guys. What are your thoughts on navigating that process a couple weeks into the season?
I think for like the rest of our offense, I think it comes back to our fundamentals. Our belief in the basics. Starting up front where we're hitting our blocks, we're staying in phase, we're in a good rhythm with the backs. Includes the tight ends, includes the receivers, and so for us on offense, like our offense as a whole, each week getting better and improving in every single area. And obviously the run game is something every single week we want to be able to lean on. So we got to be able to get that going and through great fundamental work and the practice preparation, feel like we're heading in the right direction.
You had the opportunity this week against an opponent that has had notable trouble stopping the run through 2 games.
I couldn't. What was the first part?
How do you view the opportunity for you guys there?
Yeah, I think it really comes back to us and knowing that as an offense, we want to be able to establish a run every game that we play in. The opponent will be the opponent each week. Knowing, the past stats, they help you, maybe lean on something or another as based on the film study there. But also knowing it always comes back to us and knowing that they're going to, really attack something and approach something that maybe was a perceived weakness the week before, the week before that, where they focus on it, try to improve it. So for us, it just goes back to focus on ourselves, focus on our fundamentals, hit the blocks the correct way, and we'll be rolling.
Fundamentals off. I mean, you mentioned that a couple times. They're just not.
Sure. I think the big thing for us offensively when it comes back to why we bring up the fundamentals is, when we haven't gotten in a great rhythm yet offensively, there's been glimpses of it, obviously in the second game more so than the first. And so you say, don't have to go outside the framework of anything we're trying to do. So always leaning back on our training, leaning back on all the work that we put in throughout training camp, throughout OTAs, and really making the game as simple as that right there as we go into a week.
He said that he felt the offense was chasing one play and that they just couldn't hit on that for as a play caller. Were you feeling the same sort of frustration as you're watching? It's a one-score game for the majority, but one play wasn't connecting.
Yeah, I think for us, looking to get points in this league, creating explosives, finding a way to be efficient down in and down out, and then be able to hit on an explosive play, being able to hit on a downfield shot, which hasn't come to fruition yet. But knowing that something we're going to keep going, not necessarily chasing that, letting it happen naturally within the flow of the game, and trusting in the process, trusting the preparation for those moments to happen.
Are you still at a point with the run game and personnel, like, when you talk about rhythm and working with the offensive line, like which backs work best in certain situations, or do you feel like you guys have that flushed out?
Yeah, I feel like we have a good group of running backs. I think Chad Morton and Jennifer King have done a good job of allowing those guys to gain a lot of reps and different styles of run throughout the course of the season. Throughout the course of training camp heading into the season here. And now it's about, finding that rhythm as a whole, feel good with Swift and with Khalil and with Roshan and the different styles that they can bring. Each week evaluating what fits them best. And like I said, in every week is its own individual entity and figuring out how they fit into the game plan this week, how we can maximize their tools.
Is Roshan still getting up to speed? Well, was there a reason behind him being active but not getting any work last week?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes back to, the ramp up and getting going there, knowing he's a great player for HT on special teams there, gets a chance to play there, and then just the way the reps play out each game, will be dependent on, us getting enough snaps, if we're able to run the ball more, get some more runs called, more opportunities will present themselves for the different backs in the backfield there.
You all had to tinker with how much you put on Caleb Williams' plate, how much you put or how much you take off of it.
Yeah, I think every week we're learning as an offense as a whole, where we're at. I think for us right now, starting point for the offense as a whole is to be eliminating negative plays. And I think starting with me, doing a great job getting plays in a timely fashion. Felt like we had a better rhythm this past week than the first week. And knowing, for all the young players on our offense, including Caleb, every single week they're going to learn, grow. The game will slow down for them a little bit more, and the comfort level will continue to increase. I think that's the steady improvement that we're looking for.
But to this point, you don't feel like you're asking Caleb to do too much?
I think Caleb's done a great job with what he's been asked to do. Don't feel like it's been too much, and I think more of it is the game reps, the the live rep, so to speak, in the regular season here, and he's continued to grow. And I can't say enough about his attitude each day. Comes into work ready to learn, ready to continue. You're going to see different blitz patterns. You're going to see different front structures. You're going to see game plan elements every single week. And I think for him, the more reps he gets, the more times he sees it in those game scenarios, the better he's going to continue to get every single week.
Shane, from a self-evaluation standpoint, what can you do better to help Caleb be comfortable behind an offensive line that's struggling to keep him clean?
Yeah, I think for us as myself personally, but us as a coaching staff, having good variety, having a good mix of what we're asking to do in different known passing situations right there. Obviously having the run game come to life in some of those scenarios as well. And really being able to mix and match and play with some variety. I think all of that will, what are the breather plays throughout the plan? What are the chances for the ball out plays, which I think he did a really good job this past week, and all the underneath completions, finding completions, playing clean, and then when the big play opportunities happen, like we talked about earlier, then they come naturally through the course of the game.
Shane, when offensive linemen get in a groove, get in a run game groove, how does that impact their pass block? Is there any correlation?
I think there's a direct correlation. The better you hit run blocks, the more you can wear out and lean on a defensive line. Those are just body blows that accumulate throughout the course of the game that help you, especially when you talk about how you can wear down a defensive line then leading into a 2-minute situation, or you can extend drives, keep those guys out on the field, for a longer period of time. So I think those two things go hand in hand.
So when your quarterback sacks 7 times, does that create an urgency to establish that run game even more? Just to get in that group?
I think the sack thing, those are all we're going to look at those all as individual entities right there. So I don't think that the sacks are necessarily always correlated to the issue at hand. When you get one is a slide on a screen play right there, another is a running out on the sideline there on a keeper. So really it's more as a whole of what's the rush feel, and going back to the point of does the run game impact the rush plan? Well, if we can go ahead and lean on a defensive line in the run game, I think that's going to directly correlate to less pressures. The sacks can be a sack number, but the pressures is the more thing that we're focused on. What are those games looking like? Are we handling them? Are we tight? Including the running backs, including the tight ends when they're asked to be a help in pass protection as well.
Shane, in your career when you've had similar ruts, what has gotten your offense out of it? Does it just kind of take one and everybody relaxes? Is it you lean on the run game more? What's the formula to kind of get out of a funk?
I think getting out of the funk starts with practice, and I think what we saw this past week after week 1 was a group that showed up tight, ready to get to work, ready to attack the next week. And you see, with the way the game transpired for us offensively, where you have some incremental improvements, some more improvements are out there, and plenty is out there for us to see and go attack. And so when you show up to work this past Monday, we're already into the end of the week preparation right there. So I think to get out of a funk or to get better, to improve, it always going to go back to our offensive fundamentals, how we practice, how we're putting it forth on tape in practice, including walkthroughs and then including the meeting room, which is going to lead to the results on the field.
How do you help Caleb guard against the frustration that must be there through 2 games?
I think for him, it goes back to the same point from last week: is be where your feet are planted. I think the turnaround in the NFL is so quick. It's a long season. There's going to be good and bad that happen for every single team across the league right there. And how can you come back in on Monday, whether it's after a great win or after a loss that there's no such thing as a great loss. It's still not what anyone's looking for. But how do you show up for work on Monday with a positive mindset, looking forward, be where your feet are planted? You can't change the past, but you can impact the future by your actions that you take during that day.
As it relates to the big play opportunities, the ball that Caleb threw to DeAndre that resulted in the PI penalty down near the goal line, what did you see in that sequence that struck you?
The ball, which one? We had the one on the.
It's down near the goal line. It was in the second quarter.
I got you. I ran your car. I was thinking the PI or the holding we had to DeAndre Swift there. I got you now. Okay, on that one there, safety did it. He closed a little early. Responsibility wise, he didn't middle 1 and 2 out there, so he attacks the ball early. It was a good quick read. Good job with Caleb reading with his feet right there, trying to make a play happen on a longer yardage situation right there. So I had it open, and then if he squeezed even a little bit tighter, potential for DJ on the outside on that play. But good, clear, early contact was made right there, and then able to advance the ball right there.
The struggles you've had offensively protecting Caleb Williams on the line, Is there more of a mindset to maybe use some more 12 and 13 man personnel, just have more bodies back there and to help with blocking and maybe pop out?
Yeah, I think usage of personnel right there. There's a few scenarios within that past game where we were in 12, chipping the edges. Because the thing that's going to come back to the protection element is it's always going to take all 11, right? And looking back at the individual pressures, the individual sacks, and really trying to help our players put them in the best position of the why a breakdown may or may not have occurred. But it's never going to come down to one thing throughout the entire course of a game. It could be, starting with the O line every time, right? Were we ID'd correctly? Were we playing inside out in our protection mindset? Then if the tight ends are involved in the protection of the backs, they playing with clean eyes, clean feet to keep that pocket. Is the quarterback looking to get the ball out in rhythm? If he has to escape, is he doing with his eyes downfield and ready to protect the ball? And then for the receivers, are they working in the timing and rhythm of the pass downfield? So each play, each pressure that occurs, I think we're looking at that and knowing that we have personnel that we can mix and match and utilize to go ahead and mix up some of the protection looks is something we're always looking to do.
Shane, in pass protection, we're always trying to identify who gave up the sack. But when it's a stunt or a game, where's the breakdown and how do you correct those? How do you avoid them?
Yeah, I think understanding different sets as far as the pre-snap alignment that are big alerts for stunts and games, knowing where help is, knowing what the communication is, both pre-snap and post-snap, and some of that communication occurs physically in terms of feeling a stunt or feeling a pick happen, as well as verbally if we're passing things off, and then also knowing where we can slide in the pocket depending on certain flush rushes are going to create the quarterback to move off a spot or try to get him to move off a spot to a certain way. So good subtle pocket movements can always help with those as well. So going back to taking all 11 against stunts, IDing it pre-snap, working together post-snap. Okay, if backs are involved, to chip or help on the way out, and then the quarterbacks with the subtle pocket movements.
Who's responsible for that? Is that a quarterback, a center? Is that a player? How does that work?
You're talking about as far as the individual stunt goes.
Yeah.
If it's a post snap thing, it's the linemen that are working together within that, but it's also tied in the quarterback and working clean in the pocket to find those. In the pre snap, it's always going to be the communication, starting with the center and the quarterback working inside out to the guards, to the tackles, to the tight ends, and making sure we have our calls, we have our mechanisms for each look right there, and making sure that we're on the same page.
Shane, when you started to build this offense, I'm sure Keenan was a big factor in your plan. How much has not having him hampered getting this offense off the ground?
I think for us as an offense, DeAndre has stepped right in there and played. And we know we'd want Keenan out there and know he'll be ready to get out there as soon as he's physically able. But for us, you got to adjust and adapt and overcome every single week. Not always going to be the same personnel that's available every week in this league. And that's where we got to rely on all of our guys that we have great trust in to step up and keep playing.
Shane, as you've gotten yourself recentered and planted yourself where your feet are, what is your big picture assessment of what these 2 weeks have been offensively, the first 2 games?
I think a learning and growth experience, right? So plenty of opportunities to learn from, plenty of opportunities to grow and move forward and be ready to keep improving every single week and, learn from the past and then moved on to where we're at today.
Where would you like to see Caleb make the biggest step in week 3?
I think for us as an offense, as a whole, I think it's eliminating negative plays, because we want to be an efficient offense. We want to be able to run the ball, all the things that we've preached and talked about. And I think the great starting point for that is, the ability in and out of the huddle, starting with, me with the play calls, getting up to the line of scrimmage, no delay of games, no pre-snap false starts, any of those mechanics. And, for the quarterback, he has full control of the offense like he does, being that good calming presence and leading us forward.
Caleb mentioned this after the game the other night, and I want to make sure I heard it right. Did he say that maybe he shouldn't be walking toward the sideline when he gets the play, that it might be costing him a second or two, something like that? And that seems like such a little thing, but is that something that rookies kind of have to learn stuff like that?
Yeah, I didn't hear that specific thing about that, but one thing we've talked about, play in, play out, is every single second is so valuable. So we're always looking to, starting with getting that call in, then getting it relayed to the players in the huddle. How many seconds can we steal before we're at the line of scrimmage right there? So if we can operate even 2 or 3 seconds faster, doesn't seem like that much time, but having 2 or 3 more seconds at the line of scrimmage, and that can come from getting in and out of the huddle, huddle, come from the huddle break to get into the line of scrimmage. So every second that we can steal to be at the line of scrimmage, right? So now we're the ones attacking the defense. We're not up against a shot clock in a 3-2-1 ball snap situation right there. So yeah, stealing valuable seconds everywhere we can is paramount for us. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, as far as our week of preparation, yesterday's practice was excellent. It was an upgrade over last week's practice, and that one was pretty good. I thought the urgency, the attention to detail, I thought the speed was there, the hustle, all of the things that we need to line up and compete against this offense that we're going to face this week. Another young quarterback that has a lot of tools, size, speed, huge arm, can push the ball downfield, and he's got some speed that can connect with that. So we've got to do a really good job this week. Jonathan Taylor, in my opinion, this offense starts with him as one of the featured, most productive runners that we've seen in the last couple of years. Attempts, yards, all of those things. He's everything that you look for in a featured back. We've got to do a really good job of maintaining our discipline as far as our gaps are concerned and our run fits. We've just got to do a good job of working together and making sure that we keep him in front of us with respect to our assignments. And Anthony Richardson, like I just mentioned, I mean, this young man is really the featured runner. When they start to transition to some of the college-style plays, the option plays, he's capable of running the football. He has excellent speed, size, and so we've got to do a good job with our assignments as it pertains to the option portion of their rushing offense. Offensive line. I mean, Quentin Nelson, he's been doing it for a long time at a high level. He's one of the reasons why their rushing game has been so productive. He's got a disposition. You're going to have to do a good job against him to maintain your leverage, to anchor the point of attack, and have a chance to win one-on-one as a pass rusher. So, great challenge. Our guys are really preparing themselves well with the walkthrough that we just had and yesterday's practice. Really excited about the challenge. I'll take your questions.
Richardson has like less than 200 NFL snaps.
Mm-hmm.
What is the challenge when you've got a guy who doesn't have a lot of film, and in terms of what you think, what he's able to do and what he's not able to do?
Well, the offense has kind of declared itself as far as he's concerned. What they desire to do with him, to utilize his arm, his size, his ability, his quickness, his ability to be a featured runner. We have to account for them, and that's tough defensively when the quarterback is a second runner. So the offense has really declared itself, and we've got to do a good job against him and what they're going to present to us offensively through the quarterback's position.
What do you do to guard against the explosive plays from Anthony Richardson? Because there's been several.
Right. Assignment football. We have to be exceptionally detailed with our assignments, especially when they start to utilize him as a second runner with some of the option things that you'll see. And similar to last week, when we can't allow him to extend plays, especially when we do a good job of connecting with our coverage. We've got to make sure he stays in the pocket, and we can force him to throw the ball away or at best get him down.
Follow up to that, is there an opportunity for your secondary with a guy like that who likes to take chances down the field? I mean, is that something they have to be alerted to, that Anthony Richardson will put the ball in harm's way sometimes?
Yeah, we try and be opportunistic every week. We try and create the opportunities with every quarterback that we face. We want to speed him up or force him away from his rhythm or the rhythm of that particular play, and hopefully to get some throws that are errant, that are off target, and really when those opportunities present themselves, we got to catch the football.
Eric, what struck you most about the play Billings made late in that game to keep you guys alive down to the goal line?
From a fundamental standpoint, combo block protection, he's got two guys on him. And so the challenge is to anchor the point of attack and not give up movement in that particular situation. And when the double team comes off or the pressure comes off one of his shoulders, to be able to snap and continue to address the back. All backs or most backs are taught to challenge dark creases. So from a fundamental standpoint, I just thought the technique was outstanding. And also to be in that position, you have two guys on you, and not only not give up movement, but to have enough velocity behind the hit to jar the ball loose was outstanding.
What do you sense that the big picture significance is of a play like that in a moment like that where you guys are backs against the wall literally, and then you come out with the football?
just speaks to the character of the guys. It just speaks to their character. I can't say enough about that. They took the field every single time in the game, and especially the second half, with just a resolve and a determination to try and get the ball back to our offense, or at best, take it away from them.
Eric, on the touchdown to Nico Collins, what happened on the back end there that allowed that score to happen?
What happened on the well? I mean, we didn't get the pressure on the quarterback, and we had a gap between the deep coverage and the underneath coverage. We just had a little bit of a gap in there, and those two things kind of got together and allowed them to complete the pass and to put it in the end zone.
Through the first two games, Andrew Billings, who has been somebody who's been known as more of a run stopper than anything, has been one of the best pass rushers, and with his pass rush win rate. What have you seen him add to his game that has allowed him to all of a sudden be able to be in the backfield consistently and causing pressure on the quarterback?
Well, he understands how to rush protections, especially on first and second down, who he needs to rush to pick after the protection declares itself, and to find his one-on-one in the mix, whether it's a drop back scenario or a play action scenario. For that nose tackle, really, that's the first person that we address, ironically, when we start to install our four-man rush, because he has the most direct path to the quarterback. We got to get it pushed back, and that will allow our edge rushers to be productive. So, I mean, his mindset has been excellent. His conditioning is where it needs to be, and it's really exciting to watch how he's added to his overall game.
What impressed you the most about Daryl's pursuit? I know the pass that CJ made to I think it was to Collins, the 18-yarder. I mean, he makes it while he's getting hit, but are there takeaways there of just like the effort play, kind of those hits principles that showed up for Taylor on that?
Always, it's the first thing that we look at. Off the backside, he came off the ball with urgency, with quickness, ran right by the person that was assigned to him in protection, and just to continue to pursue. We put a top on that. Maybe we have a different outcome. And when I say top, make sure we have an edge on that part of the rush, so the quarterback is forced to pull up. And so we just want to make sure we protect our one-on-ones. He's a guy that's demonstrated that he can win, and across the board, whether it's a blitzer or another defensive lineman, we have to protect our ability to win.
Derek, with Montez,
Dexter has 2 sacks. Besides that, what kind of impact is he making that kind of convinces you that he can be that, or is getting to that level of defensive tackle that really makes this defense go?
I'm going to tell you, I started off talking about practice, because to me, that's where you make gains. That's where you make progress and you continue to build your game. And this young man works as hard and as diligent as you'll see, as I've seen in practice. He comes out every single day and he's focused on that particular moment, what we're emphasizing, the situations that we're working on, and he's just really he's working on what he's going to do in the game during practice. I can't say enough about that.
Eric, with Montez Sweat, when you evaluate his play, what's the balance of production versus how often he's being doubled? How do you kind of assess what he has to go through each game? And obviously, I'm sure he wants to be on a stat sheet. You want to see him out there as well.
Well, he's going to get there. I mean, he has the talent and the mindset, the intelligence to get there. There are things that are obvious, sacks, hits, and those types of things, and sometimes there are things that are obvious to us. And what I'm looking at with Montel is how he's factoring on certain plays. There have been some plays that have been made by Gravon where Montez was a major, if not primary, factor in that particular play. So to me, it's just a matter of time. He knows how to get to the quarterback and to end the play with a sack fumble. And so those things will happen for him, and they'll happen in bunches.
Is he the type of guy that you expect him every once in a while to beat a double team, or is it just when there's a double team, there's only so much he can do? And as you said, he can kind of help set things up for the arc.
Yeah, I expect him to never stall, and we don't count how many blockers we've accumulated. I mean, we don't stop until the play is over, and that we've affected the play that we want, in the manner that we want to. So he's going to continue to work. He's not going to ever stall, and he's going to focus on his assignment.
Three technique was a major question coming in this season. How would you assess the job through 2 games that you've seen out of Javon Dexter?
Really excited about what he's doing. Really excited about Gravon, and not only that, but just the 3 technique play overall. Whoever's been aligned in that position, but we're a work in progress. There's more to be had for everyone, starting with me, and we're looking for that every single day. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, how's everyone doing?
Good. I want to ask you about
just it seems like the increase in distance for kickers it's been a gradual climb here, but it seems like really these first couple weeks of this season, everybody's hitting 50+ field goals like it's nothing. Has this been something you've kind of seen coming, and is it surprising you in any way?
No, not really. I mean, just guys good leg strength, guys hitting a lot of good field goals. Guys usually early on in training camp and operation is really good there. So I think that guys are at max strength earlier in the year. But um, I tell you what, our guys are the same way. They're in the meetings, they're focused, they're locked in. We're really excited about this week going against a really good opponent in all three phases of the game. So it's going to be a good challenge for us. Honestly, Coach, it's going to be a good challenge for us. I mean, we have a lot of respect for these guys. We have familiarity with them because of the joint practices. So I know that they're fundamentally sound. I know they're coached with really good technique. So we're going to have to really be on our details this week. So that's the way I see like everything you're asking there. I think guys are just on their details in general early on. Now, can you sustain that throughout the year as the leg strength goes down, as the more games you play, stuff like that? That's a great question.
The accuracy from distance, like Adam said, is going like this. Where does it go? What's the extent of the human body? I mean, in 20 years or 65 yarders is commonplace. What do you think about that?
Yeah, all I know is from when I first got in, and that's a great observation, Larry. When I first got in, the kickers, the players, in general, core players, quarterbacks, everything, guys are bigger, faster, stronger. And I don't know if they're getting more training when they're younger, more individualized training from, middle school. Like they're middle school kids. Obviously, I got middle school kids that are working out like with trainers and going in on nutrition plans and stuff like that, which we never had when I was growing up. So I think that makes a difference with the athlete that's coming out today.
Richard Hightower said that he thinks the fact that all the kickers always get together in the off season in different groups and kind of coach each other. He thinks that was maybe a bigger factor than any as far as the accuracy at 50+. How long has that been going on? I know like tight ends get together and whatever, maybe receivers do what, but
Yep.
how long has the kicker thing been going on, and how big of a help do you think that is? I'm sure you've seen it grow in your.
Yeah, Mark, I think it's been going on for years. Like a lot of them go out to California, some of them go out to San Diego in the off season, some of them go various places, and they all get together. Snappers, holders, kickers, punters. They do it just like the tight ends do it. I know. Kid I used to coach, he has a deal in Tennessee with tight ends. Kiddo has a deal in Tennessee where he gets all the tight ends together. They have something similar for kickers out in California, and that could very well help it as well. So I think Cairo is spot on with that, and really those three guys have been doing a phenomenal job. Scott, Torrey, and Cairo meshing together and trying to help win games. And the field goal protection team has done a really nice job. Guys that don't get mentioned, that I would love to mention, guys like Pryor, him and Tevin, they're doing an outstanding job in the inside at the guard position. Jenkins is doing a great job. Jenkins is doing a great job along with Pryor. Darnell Wright is doing an outstanding job. Braxton, those guys playing tackle for us, doing a great job. Doug Kramer never gets mentioned. Shelton never gets mentioned. Those guys are doing phenomenal. And then our wings are obviously Cole Kmet. He always is mentioned. And then Mercedes. Mercedes is doing a great job. Mercedes does a great job for our team. Like the knowledge that man has. He told the team the other day, hey, I've made 18 years because I live a day-to-day contract, a one-day contract, every day. That's how I've got here.
If they messed up, we'd be all over.
All over. All over.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm curious about Torrey Taylor. I know it's only 2 games, but is he giving you the upgrade you were looking for at punter, not to disparage previous guys?
Sure.
Is he giving you the upgrade? And is there an example of something he's done where, yeah, that's what we were looking for?
Yeah, I think the protection, first of all, has done a phenomenal job for Torrey to be comfortable. I think the Gunners have done a phenomenal job getting down the field. And has he done what he is supposed to do to justify that fourth round draft status? Absolutely, he has. Now, we have still a long way to go, but he has done a really nice job when he's been. Think about the game that we just played. He got every situation. He got a backed up punt where he had to punt it out the back of the end zone. He got a plus 50 punt in that game. He got an open field punt in that game. He got one where he pinned in the corner. So that kid did a great job last game. And the Gunners, I mean, Blackwell and Jalen Jones, outstanding. Blackwell made some outstanding plays in that game, and he's growing too. And those two are growing in their third year.
Did I see correctly that the Colts don't have a punt return yet?
Yeah. So that, and there have been a lot of touchbacks as well. So yeah, that is correct that they don't have that yet.
I mean,
They've been doing a nice job.
feel more like a week one game for you then, where you don't have a ton of tape to go off of in that area?
Well, the good thing, Coach, is that we have last year as well. Same punter, some of the same people that are out there, and then obviously the familiarity with being in a joint practice with them as well. But I think they do an outstanding job. Like I said before, they've already blocked one punt this year. They blocked the punt this year, so they're technically sound, and they're coached well. So it'll be a big time challenge for us. You can still pick up things off of that tape though. Even though there's not a return, you can pick up some tidbits off that tape.
I remember the joint practices last year, the punt coverage drills being maybe the most competitive of the 2 days in any period, in any phase. What do you remember from that? Because I can specifically remember like offensive, defensive guys even just on the sideline, like both teams getting really into it because of how competitive it was.
Yeah, I think you had two really prideful units going at it in a real competitive but controlled environment. And they have some really good players, Doolin is one of their gunners, does a really good job. They have really good players like across I could be up here forever talking about their guys, but like I think all of those guys, they take special teams serious just like our guys do. So I think that added to the competition, and this will be a big time challenge for us. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you do anything to recognize guys who make an impact but never get any credit for it publicly? I mean, do you guys do anything?
Yeah, we do it. We do it in our meetings. Every meeting we do it. Usually every meeting after a game. So like the post game meeting, the Monday morning. Yeah, we got a whole deal where we go through our production board, production points. Guys get to stand up. Guys get clapped for. It's really a energetic, enthusiastic meeting. Obviously, when you win that ball game, and I think our players really look forward to that game. That meeting gives me even more energy for the week when we recognize those guys. And Coach calls it appreciate your teammate. Appreciate your teammate.
You should publicize that, like special teamer of the week.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't even notice. Like I know Blackwell made a nice play on a kick. If I noticed it, it must have been good because I'm not that good at it.
Yeah.
Things like that,
Yeah, no, he did a great job in the ball game. I'm gonna tell you who else did a really nice job in the ball game was Jalen Jones. Jalen Jones did a great job. He was a point leader last game. The game before that, obviously Hardy was the guy who led in points. And they get points for different things. Like a tackle is 3 points, a big play is 5 points, a game breaker like Hardy had, that's 10 points. So you want to have more points than you have plays, and usually you get a chance to be, the player of the game. But they look forward to it.
The block that sprung, I think it was Carter for that long return.
Yeah.
What's that worth?
Yeah, the big block. Yeah, it's worth 5 points for he gets a big play on that, and he gets 2 points for that block because he kicked that guy out. That was Travis Homer. Who, he did a great job on that. Yeah. That's a good eye.
How much are good questions worth? Which one of them would be?
Hey, at least these two are rocking today. Good.
We're here.
Thank y'all.